Imagine arriving at work on Monday morning and finding that the most difficult part of the week has already been organized for you. The sales team has a clear list of the opportunities that need attention. Finance has a summary of overdue invoices and unusual transactions. Project managers have a report showing which commitments are at risk. Human resources has a first draft of the onboarding plan for 3 new employees. And senior management has a decision brief that separates facts, assumptions, risks, and actions. Now imagine the opposite. Employees paste confidential contracts into personal accounts. Different departments create their own instructions, so the same question produces 5 different answers. A polished but incorrect analysis reaches a customer. Nobody knows which source the AI used, who approved the result, or whether the system had permission to access the data. Both organizations may be using Claude. The difference is not the model, the difference is implementation. Claude can be a very capable writing and reasoning assistant, but for a business, the real opportunity is larger. Claude Team and Claude Enterprise can become a controlled layer for research, company knowledge, document analysis, software development, connected workflows, and structured decision support. Claude for small business can also place ready-to-run workflows inside tools that smaller companies already use. In this video, we will build a practical operating model for using Claude across a real business. We will compare the team and enterprise plans. We will explain projects, artifacts, integrations, the model context protocol, Claude Code, and governed agentic work. Then we will apply Claude to management, sales, marketing, finance, procurement, customer service, operations, human resources, and engineering. Finally, we will create a realistic 90-day rollout plan and show how to measure whether Claude is creating business value instead of simply creating more activity. One important note before we begin: product features and prices change. The information in this video reflects Anthropic's published material available in August 2026. Always verify the latest plan details and regional availability before purchasing. The objective is not to make a company look more futuristic. The objective is to make the company faster, clearer, safer, and more capable, while keeping people accountable for consequential decisions. Let us begin with the product decision. Claude Team is the collaboration plan for organizations that want a shared workspace, centralized administration, increased usage, projects, knowledge bases, and collaboration features. Anthropic currently lists Team at $25 per person per month with annual billing, or $30 with monthly billing, with a minimum of 5 members in supported locations. Claude Enterprise is designed for larger or more regulated deployments. It includes team capabilities and adds controls such as single sign-on, domain capture, just-in-time provisioning, role-based permissions, audit logs, SIM directory synchronization, custom data retention, and a compliance API for programmatic access to usage and content records. Enterprise pricing is arranged through sales. Enterprise also offers an enhanced context window for very large bodies of material. That matters when a team needs to work across hundreds of transcripts, long policy collections, complex technical documents, or large code bases. But context size should not be confused with accuracy. Giving any more information does not guarantee that the information is current, relevant, complete, or correctly interpreted. Anthropic also offers premium seats for team and enterprise users who need Claude Code and higher usage. This makes it possible to give standard seats to employees who mainly research, write, analyze, and collaborate, while assigning premium seats to developers and technical staff who need coding agent capabilities. The correct plan is not determined only by employee count. A small financial advisory firm may need enterprise because it requires detailed access controls, auditability, and formal retention policies. A larger company may begin with a control team pilot if the first use cases are low risk and limited to a few departments. Ask 6 questions. First, do you require automatic provisioning and removal of users through SIM? Second, do you need custom retention rules or a compliance API? Third, do a legal or compliance team teams require audit logs and detailed role-based permissions. Fourth, will Claude need access to highly sensitive company systems or regulated data? Fifth, do you need a larger context window for very large document or code collections? And sixth, do developers need Claude Code under centrally managed policies? If the answer to several of these questions is yes, Enterprise is likely the stronger foundation. If not, Team may be the right place to start. For a smaller company, Anthropic's Claude for Small Business package is especially relevant. It connects Claude to tools such as QuickBooks, PayPal, HubSpot, Canva, DocuSign, Google Workspace, and Microsoft 365, and offers ready-to-run workflows for tasks such as planning payroll, closing the month, running a campaign, and following up on invoices. The key design principle is that the owner remains in control. The user approves the plan, and sensitive actions require approval before anything sends, posts, or pays. This leads to the most important implementation principle in the entire video. I may prepare, analyze, compare, summarize, and recommend. A named human remains accountable for commitments, payments, contracts, hiring decisions, safety instructions, and external claims. A useful way to understand Claude inside a business is through 5 levels of maturity. Level 1 is the individual assistant. An employee uses Claude to draft an email, summarize a document, translate a proposal, analyze a spreadsheet, brainstorm options, or improve a report. This creates immediate productivity, but quality depends heavily on the employee's judgment and instructions. Level 2 is the team workspace. Departments use shared projects, approved reference documents, standard instructions, and reusable examples. Instead of every employee inventing a process, the organization creates a repeatable way of working. A project can contain relevant files, background knowledge, and custom instructions. For example, a procurement project could include the purchasing policy, standard evaluation criteria, approved supplier forms, contract clauses, and the required format for comparison reports. Claude can then assist within that defined context. Artifacts add another layer. Claude can create documents, diagrams, code, simple applications, data visualizations, and other outputs in a dedicated working area beside the conversation. This is useful when the work needs to be reviewed, revised, and presented rather than simply answered in a chat message. Level 3 is connected company knowledge. Claude uses approved integrations and connectors to access the tools where work already happens. Anthropic's integrations are built on the Model Context Protocol, or MCP, an open standard for connecting AI systems to data sources and tools. Anthropic describes MCP as similar to Universal Port for AI applications. The advantage is context. Instead of asking Claude to write release notes from a vague description, a connected workflow can read approved tickets from a project system and draft notes based on actual completed work. Instead of asking for a generic customer brief, Claude can combine approved CRM information, meeting history, and public research. Level 4 is connected workflow. Claude does not only retrieve information. With the right permissions, it can prepare work across several systems. It may create a draft, update a record, assemble a report, or build a sequence of tasks. This is where permissions, logging, and approval steps become essential. Level 5 is governed agentic work. A multi-step process is delegated to Claude, monitored, and completed inside clear limits. People approve sensitive decisions. The process has an owner, measurable outcomes, access boundaries, and a rollback plan. Most companies should not begin at level 5. They should first improve individual tasks, then standardize team workflows, then connect company knowledge, and only then automate multi-step processes. Technology can move quickly, but organizational trust moves slowly. A good rollout respects that difference. Throughout this video, we will use a fictional company called Meridian Works. It is an illustrative example, not a real case study. Meridian Works has 80 employees across trading, engineering services, property sales, digital services, and corporate support. Before Claude, employees spend significant time finding files, rewriting similar documents, preparing meeting notes, comparing supplier quotations, checking spreadsheets, responding to repeated questions, and combining updates from several departments. Meridian Works does not want to replace its employees, it wants to reduce avoidable administrative work, improve decision quality, and make company knowledge easier to access. The first major use case is executive decision support. Senior leaders often receive too much information in inconsistent formats. Sales sends a spreadsheet, operations sends a long email, finance sends a cash flow file, project managers send meeting minutes, customer service sends a list of complaints. The executive must convert all of this into a small number of decisions. Claude can compress that complexity into a structured decision brief. Meridian Works creates a weekly executive project. Every department submits an update using the same template: target, actual result, change from last week, explanation, risk, decision required, and source document. Claude compares actual results with approved targets. It identifies contradictions between departments. It separates confirmed facts from assumptions. It lists missing information. It highlights the 3 decisions that cannot be delayed. And it creates a one-page management brief with references to the supporting material. The prompt is not, "Tell me what happened this week." The prompt is more disciplined. Compare performance with the approved plan. Identify material changes. Show the source for every claim. Distinguish facts from interpretations. List unresolved questions. And recommend decisions without making the final decision. This approach can support board papers, investment memos, meeting preparation, scenario planning, and competitor analysis. But leaders must never confuse a polished answer with a correct answer. Claude may make an incorrect inference, overlook missing information, or give excessive confidence to weak data. Every executive output should show sources, assumptions, and unresolved questions. The real benefit is not that Claude makes the decision, it gives leaders a cleaner surface on which to make the decision. The second major use case is sales and proposal development. Sales teams lose time before and after customer conversations. They research accounts, prepare questions, take notes, write proposals, update the customer relationship system, and send follow-up messages. Claude can support the complete cycle. Before a meeting, Claude can combine approved company knowledge with public research to create an account brief, the customer profile, recent developments, likely needs, relevant products, risks, and intelligent questions. After the meeting, a transcript can be transformed into requirements, objections, commitments, decision criteria, and next steps. Claude can draft a follow-up email and a proposal outline using the company's approved language. Meridian Works creates a sales project containing service descriptions, qualification rules, proposal structure, approved case examples, standard exclusions, and prohibited claims. Claude must not invent prices, delivery promises, technical capabilities, or legal commitments. It asks the salesperson to provide approved commercial terms. This is important because faster sales activity is not always better sales activity. A weak proposal delivered in 10 minutes is still weak. Measure proposal cycle time, follow-up speed, conversion rate, revision count, and the percentage of proposals requiring commercial correction. Keep final pricing, discounts, contractual commitments, and customer representations under human control. The third use case is marketing and creative production. Claude can help a marketing team move from scattered ideas to a consistent production system. It can research a market, analyze customer language, create campaign concepts, draft a content calendar, repurpose a webinar, produce article outlines, prepare video scripts, and generate first versions of visual or interactive artifacts. Anthropic has emphasized that Claude should expand creative capacity rather than replace taste. That is a useful principle. I can accelerate options, but a human still decides what is original, appropriate, accurate, and aligned with the brand. Meridian Works creates a marketing project containing the brand guide, audience profiles, product facts, approved terminology, terminology, claims policy, examples of strong content, and a list of restricted topics. A campaign workflow begins with a brief. Claude asks for the objective, audience, offer, evidence, channel, deadline, and approval owner. It then proposes 3 campaign directions. The team selects one. Claude develops a message hierarchy, article outline, email sequence, social posts, video topics, and a review checklist. The marketing manager does not approve content simply because it sounds professional. The review checks factual accuracy, originality, legal claims, customer sensitivity, and whether the content adds real value. Useful metrics include production time, approval time, engagement quality, qualified leads, conversion, and the percentage of content requiring major correction. The 4th use case is customer service. Claude can summarize conversations, classify requests, retrieve approved answers, draft responses, identify repeated problems, and prepare escalations. When connected to support systems, it can help convert customer feedback into product tasks or operational improvements. Meridian Works defines 3 service categories. Low risk requests include operating hours, standard documentation, order status, and published policies. Claude can draft or, after sufficient testing, respond within approved boundaries. Medium risk requests include delivery disputes, product misunderstandings, and service complaints. Claude prepares a response, but a trained employee reviews it. High risk requests include legal threats, safety concerns, payment fraud, harassment, emotionally distressed customers, and requests involving confidential information. Claude must immediately escalate these to human. A good support implementation does not only reduce response time, it improves resolution quality. Measure first response time, resolution time, escalation accuracy, customer satisfaction, repeat contact rate, and error rate. The 5th use case is finance and procurement. Claude can help review management accounts, explain variances, summarize cash flow movements, prepare month-end checklists, compare supplier quotations, identify missing commercial terms, and draft payment follow-up messages. Anthropic has published ready-to-run workflows for financial services, including tasks such as month-end work, kick screening, and pitch book preparation. The lesson for ordinary businesses is that finance work can be structured into auditable stages. Meridian Works uses Claude to compare supplier offers. The system extracts price, quantity, delivery time, origin, warranty, payment terms, exclusions, and technical complaints into a standard table. It flags missing information and calculates differences. It does not choose the supplier. For accounts receivable, Claude reviews an approved list of overdue invoices, prepares polite reminders, classifies the follow-up stage, and creates a queue for the finance team. It never changes bank details, sends payment instructions, approves a payment, or edits the accounting ledger without authorized control. Financial controls should follow the principle of separation of duties. The person who prepares a transaction should not be the only person who approves it. I does not remove that principle, it makes it more important. The 6th use case is operations and project management. Operations teams work across schedules, task systems, email, documents, and meetings. Important commitments are often hidden inside unstructured text. Claude can transform meeting notes into decisions, owners, deadlines, dependencies, and risks. It can compare project status with the original plan, identify unresolved actions, draft weekly reports, and prepare handover documents. Meridian Works creates a project delivery workspace. It contains the approved scope, milestone plan, reporting format, change control rules, and quality checklist. After every project meeting, Claude produces 4 outputs: a decision log, an action register, a risk update, and a short customer-facing summary. The project manager reviews all 4 before distribution. When a delay appears, Claude can identify the likely downstream impact, but it cannot promise a revised date to the customer. That commitment belongs to the project owner. For repetitive operational work, Claude Cowork and connected workflows can coordinate several tasks. The process should always show the proposed plan, the systems involved, the actions to be taken, and the points requiring approval. The seventh use case is human resources and learning. Claude can draft job descriptions, create interview guides, summarize candidate evidence, prepare onboarding plans, answer approved policy questions, create learning materials, and help managers prepare performance conversations. But employment decisions are high impact. Claude should not make a hiring, promotion, disciplinary, compensation, or termination decision. It can organize evidence and prepare structured questions, but a trained human must make the decision and consider legal and ethical requirements. Meridian Works uses Claude to create role-based onboarding. A new project engineer receives a 30-day learning plan based on the job description, company policies, safety requirements, reporting templates, and assigned projects. A manager reviews the plan before it is issued. For recruitment, Claude compares an application with published job criteria and creates an evidence matrix. It is instructed not to infer personality, health, religion, family status, ethnicity, or other sensitive attributes. It highlights missing evidence instead of filling gaps with assumptions. Measure time to prepare onboarding, policy answer accuracy, manager satisfaction, new employee readiness, and the number of HR outputs requiring correction. The eighth use case is engineering and technology. Claude Code can work directly with code in a developer environment. It can explore a code base, explain unfamiliar systems, implement features, write tests, review code, debug problems, and support modernization. Premium seats allow selected team and enterprise users to combine Claude and Claude Code under centrally managed policies. Anthropic also provides managed policy settings for Claude Code, including controls over tools, file access, and MCP server configuration. That is important because a coding agent can be powerful. It should not have unrestricted access to production systems, credentials, or sensitive repositories. Meridian Works starts with a non-production repository. Claude Code is allowed to read approved code, create a branch, write tests, and propose changes. A developer reviews the change, runs security checks, and approves the merge. Useful engineering metrics include cycle time, test coverage, defect rate, review time, accepted suggestions, and incidents caused by generated code. Speed without software quality is not productivity. Now we need to discuss the architecture that makes these use cases reliable. The first component is approved knowledge. Do not upload every company file into one undifferentiated collection. Create clear knowledge domains such as sales, finance, HR, operations, technical, and legal. Assign an owner to each domain. Remove obsolete documents. Mark effective dates. Define which sources are authoritative. The second component is projects. Each project should have a purpose. Owner, source list, instructions, examples, prohibited actions, approval rule, and review date. The third component is integrations and MCP. Every connection should follow least privilege. Claude should receive only the permissions required for the task. If an employee cannot access a document in the original system, the connection should not create a new path around that restriction. Anthropic states that existing permissions continue to apply in its connected small business workflows. That is the correct model for every organization. The fourth component is identity and access management. Use single sign-on where appropriate. Remove access immediately when an employee leaves. Use role-based permissions. Assign administrative privileges to a small number of trained people. Review connected apps and MCP servers regularly. The fifth component is data policy. Define what information may be used, what requires approval, and what is prohibited. Common restricted categories include passwords, private keys, payment card data, highly sensitive personal information, confidential legal strategy, and data that the organization does not have permission to process. Anthropic states that it does not train its models on team and enterprise customer data by default. That is important, but it does not remove the company's responsibility ability to manage access, retention, lawful processing, and employee behavior. The sixth component is quality control. Every important workflow should have test cases, include normal cases, incomplete information, conflicting sources, malicious instructions, unusual formatting, and attempts to make the model act outside its authority. Prompt injection is a practical risk when an AI reads external content. A document or web page may contain instructions designed to manipulate the model. Connected workflows should treat external material as entrusted data, not as authority. Sensitive actions should require approval and system-level controls. The seventh component is monitoring. Enterprise audit logs and the compliance API can support governance, investigation, and policy enforcement. Track which workflows are used, which sources are accessed, how often outputs are corrected, and whether the business outcome is improving. The eighth component is incident response. Decide what happens if Claude produces a harmful output, exposes information, takes an incorrect action, or behaves unexpectedly. The company needs a way to pause the workflow, revoke access, preserve logs, notify the owner, correct the result, and learn from the incident. Governance should not be designed as a barrier to all experimentation. It should create a safe lane in which useful experimentation can happen faster. Let us finish with a practical 90-day rollout. Days 1 to 15 are for discovery and policy. Create a small steering group with one business owner, one technical owner, one security or compliance representative, and department champions. Inventory current use. Identify where employees are already using personal accounts. Publish a temporary acceptable use policy. Choose the team or enterprise plan based on control requirements, not enthusiasm. Select 3 pilot workflows using 5 criteria: high repetition, measurable outcome, available data, manageable risk, and a clear human owner. Good first pilots might include meeting summaries, proposal drafting, internal knowledge questions, supplier comparison, or weekly management reports. Avoid beginning with autonomous payments, legal commitments, hiring decisions, safety critical instructions, or uncontrolled access to production systems. Day 16 to 30 are for design. Map the existing process step by step. Record the current time, error rate, cost, and delays. Define the approved sources. Create the project instructions. Set permissions. Decide which steps Claude may complete, which steps it may only draft, and which steps require human approval. Build a test set of at least 30 realistic examples, including difficult and failure cases. Days 31 to 60 are for controlled piloting. Train a small user group. Ask users to verify sources and label corrections. Review outputs every week. Measure quality, time saved, adoption, and user confidence. Remove workflows that create activity without value. Do not measure success by the number of messages sent to Claude. Measure business outcomes. For a proposal workflow, measure cycle time, correction rate, conversion, and commercial errors. For a knowledge workflow, measure answer accuracy, source coverage, search time, and repeated questions. For a support workflow, measure resolution time, escalation quality, satisfaction, and incorrect responses. Day 61 to 90 are for scale and control. Standardize successful projects. Expand access by role. Add approved integrations. Introduce monitoring. Document the operating procedure. Assign a permanent owner. Establish a quarterly review of knowledge, permissions, prompts, connected tools, costs, and incidents. Calculate return on investment conservatively. Begin with hours saved on work that is genuinely reduced, not merely shifted to review. Add the value of faster decisions, fewer errors, increased conversion, reduced outsourcing, or better customer retention only when the evidence is credible. Subtract licenses, implementation time, training, integration, security, supervision, and correction costs. A simple ROI model is verified annual benefit minus minus annual cost divided by annual cost. Do not claim value based on a demonstration. Require evidence from real work over time. The long-term opportunity is not one chatbot used by everyone in the same way. It is a portfolio of controlled AI capabilities. Executives use Claude to compress complexity. Sales uses it to prepare and follow up. Marketing uses it to expand creative options. Customer service uses it to resolve routine questions and escalate sensitive ones. Finance uses it to structure analysis. Procurement uses it to compare evidence. Operations uses it to track commitments. Human resources uses it to organize learning and policy knowledge. Engineers use Claude Code to understand and improve software. Connected workflows allow these capabilities to work across approved systems, but the organization remains responsible. Claude should make evidence easier to see, not make judgment disappear. It should reduce administrative work, not remove accountability. It should accelerate people who understand the business, not encourage blind trust in fluent answers. The companies that gain the most from Claude will not necessarily be the companies that buy the most seats. They will be the companies that choose valuable workflows, clean their knowledge, define permissions, test difficult cases, measure outcomes, and keep humans responsible for consequential decisions. If you could implement Claude in one business process tomorrow, which process would create the most value? Sales, finance, customer service, operations, HR, or engineering? Share your answer in the comments and explain why. Subscribe to Future Business Lab for evidence-based guides on AI, automation, business strategy, and the future of work. Learn today, build tomorrow.